Hi and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a summer transfer and move to Arsenal. Now I've got to start with the performance yesterday of Lucas Torreira of Uruguay. Uruguay, of course, beating Portugal and progressing through to the quarterfinals of the World Cup. Of course, it was Edison Cavani who stole the headlines with two great goals. Suarez was brilliant in the game, but I'd say probably next to them, and Godin and those guys in defence, but also with a commanding performance in the game was Lucas Torreira. He was absolutely brilliant in that game, and I really liked what I saw. In the first half, he was almost like he was detailed on Cristiano Ronaldo, and he kept him really quiet. He was that shield in front of the back four, constantly breaking up play. His passing was good, his tackling was good, he won aerial duels. He was just brilliant in the game, and if he can bring that type of football to Arsenal Football Club, then we would have signed ourselves an absolute gem. Defensive midfielder player that we've needed for so long, but he looked more than just that yesterday. He really did. I mean, he has been described as the Uruguayan version of Kante. He really did look like that yesterday. It wasn't just because he's a short guy for that type of role while we're comparing him. He was very similar to Kante. He was all over the pitch, tough tackling, but also a fair bit of skill to him as well and great technique. And Arsenal, of course, have been linked now with him for a very long time. Of course, the president of Sampdoria came out a couple of weeks ago and said, listen, he's already gone, he's moved on, I've made a great profit on him. It's all set to be finalised and tied up. We're not really going to hear fully about it until after the World Cup. But Lucas Torreira does look like he's going to be coming in. And for me, it's going to be a fantastic signing for Arsenal. A couple of other guys that have been linked heavily to Arsenal, I was keeping a close eye on. Christian Pavan, who was playing out wide. Of course, he plays for Boca Juniors. Got his first start for Argentina. And I've got to say, he didn't really impress in the game. It wasn't a great performance. I've seen him come on a couple of times in the World Cup and he's looked decent, and I still think maybe he could be worth a punt. He could be one of those players that gets better and better. He's still young, still available, and Arsenal could be able to get him away from Boca Juniors, but not a great game for him yesterday, but still could be worth going in and trying to, see if he could come in, because we need a player in that position. And also, of course, Banega. And again, not a great game for Banega yesterday. He was a bit quiet, a bit subdued in that game against France. I think France, they were absolutely brilliant, and they didn't get the ball enough to Banega. But what's going to happen to Banega after the World Cup? Of course, now his World Cup's come to an end. Argentina are out. I suppose he'll go and take a little bit of a break now. But we'll get a clearer idea of what is going to happen to the future of Banega. Will he be staying at Sevilla? Sevilla, of course, really want to hold on to him. They see him as an important part of their team, and they want to keep building the team around him in the future going forward. Or will he decide to be reunited with Unai Emery at Arsenal? Arsenal very interested in Banega, but it could be a difficult deal to get done because, as I said, Sevilla do want to hold on to him. They have, as I said a few days ago, looked like they bought a potential replacement for him, should he move on. But I think over the next few days, it will become clearer as what is going to happen with Banega now that Argentina are out of the World Cup. We should also find out this week about Socrates. Now, it's the worst kept secret in football that Socrates is coming to Arsenal. I think this is one that's going to probably get announced this week. And, what are they waiting for? But I think maybe tomorrow or sometime this week, we'll see Socrates unveiled as an Arsenal player. And wow, have we needed a player in that position, particularly after we saw the disappointing performances of our two centre-backs, or principal centre-backs, last season. Socrates hopefully will come in and add a bit of steel to that position. Now, it's funny enough, I was chatting to a German football correspondent at the airport a couple of days ago over in Russia, and he was saying to me, I asked him about Socrates, and he said, listen, he goes, solid player, really solid, tough player. He goes, he'll pick up a lot of yellow cards in the Premier League. He goes, that's the nature of his play. He's a real tough, strong Greek player. The only reservations he had is that Socrates, he says, is a bit slow. And he goes, that worries him a bit, you know, with the sort of pacey players like your Leroy Sané's and people like that he'll come up against in the Premier League. But what he said to me, basically, overall, Socrates is a solid and experienced centre-back and will help Arsenal, but it's not going to be the answer. And, you know, so we're going to have to see how Socrates fits into the whole system at Arsenal. But certainly, I think that one's going to get announced this week. Lucas Vasquez, spoke about this one a few days ago. Now, it looks like Arsenal's still interested in Vasquez. They're looking at the situation. They would love to bring Lucas Vasquez in. Unai Emery said to be a big admirer of Vasquez from his time over there in Spain. Vasquez, of course, is not a regular in that Real Madrid team, and they may be able to tempt him away from Real Madrid with the lure of regular football. But again, it'll be a difficult deal to get done. We're hearing that Liverpool are now sniffing around there, really interested. Manchester United are interested. He's a quality player. And if he is going to be on his way out of Real Madrid, all the big guns are going to be in for him as well. Of course, again, this would be a very difficult deal to get done. Real Madrid would want a lot of money for him. Real Madrid apparently don't want to lose him. He's a bit of a favourite, even though he doesn't play regularly at Real Madrid with the fans. So, again, one that's probably going to play out for the whole summer. But Vasquez still being looked at by Arsenal. Now, Max Meyer of Schalke, I spoke about this one about a week ago, and I said, why are Arsenal not in for this guy? He's available now on a free transfer. His contract's come to an end at Schalke, and he's available on a free. Now, we're being told today, this is coming out of Bild, the German publication, that Max Meyer was offered to Arsenal, and several other clubs, as a matter of fact, but offered to Arsenal, but Arsenal are unwilling to pay meet his demands. Apparently, he wants about £4 million a year in wages, which that is a lot of wages for a guy that's still, you know, he's up and coming, really good prospect, but he's still unproven. He didn't even make the German team, and he's demanding these high wages. Of course, there'd be no transfer fee because he's available on a free contract. But obviously, that's what his agent's trying to do, to bump his wages right up. And Arsenal apparently unwilling to meet the £4 million pound a year wages. So Max Meyer looks like that won't happen to Arsenal. Now, Petr Cech, will he be an Arsenal player come next season? Of course, Arsenal have now bought in a goalkeeper in Bernd Leno. Paid a lot of money for him. Looks like Leno will be the #1 goalkeeper at Arsenal next season. Petr Cech had been linked with a move to Napoli. Very interesting that he was asked about it yesterday, and he said that my future is still at Arsenal, and he said that he's willing to stay and fight for his place. He's turned down the move to Napoli. He says he's not interested in going to Napoli. So Petr Cech there saying that he's going to be staying at Arsenal and fighting for his place. He didn't have a great season last year, but I suppose Petr Cech staying at Arsenal, he's a very experienced player. He's a voice in the dressing room. Maybe that might not be a bad thing. And of course, you know, he'll put a lot of pressure on Bernd Leno because, you know, he's going to want to start. He'll be pushing Leno all the way. Then what happens to David Ospina? Ospina, of course, going to be facing up against England in the last 16 of the World Cup. Ospina's been linked with moves to Fenerbahce. I spoke the other day about how his agent apparently met the president of Fenerbahce at the Dorchester Hotel in London. Will Ospina then be the one that's moving out? In my opinion, he probably is going to be. If you look at the two players, you look at Ospina and you look at Petr Cech. Ospina's the one that you get the fee for. Ospina, you know, you'll get money back. Petr Cech, you won't, you know. So Ospina looks to me like he's going to be the guy who's going to be on his way out of the club. But of course, we won't find out until Colombia are eliminated from the World Cup. Hopefully, that will be, you know, speaking from an England fan's point of view, hopefully that will be on Tuesday. We'll get to be able to find out what happens. As I keep asking you guys, who do you think should go? Should it be Ospina or should it be Cech? I'd really love to hear from you. leave it in the comments below. Really interested to find out. And finally, the player that I pick out from yesterday's games and I say, yo, Arsenal, get this guy in. I'm going to pick, listen, I'd love to pick Mbappe, right? We know how close we came to picking Mbappe, getting Mbappe. He even said the other day that, you know, Wenger spoke to him and he was thinking seriously about coming to Arsenal and how good would he have been. He looked brilliant yesterday. But I'm going to pick another French player, and that's Pavard. Now, I've spoken about Pavard on the show. Arsenal have been linked with him. He's at Stuttgart. Brilliant goal by him yesterday, but not only that, he was brilliant in defence, playing as a right back. And actually for his club, he plays as a centre back. So you can see that he can play more than one position. He was superb yesterday in that game. And as I said, topped it off with a great goal. Arsenal have been linked with him. And from what I've seen of him so far in the tournament, he looks a very, very good player. Obviously now, after scoring that goal yesterday, his price has gone up again. But for me, he would be a great pick for Arsenal to bring in that defence. So Pavard, for me yesterday, superb performance. Arsenal, go and get him. Thanks for watching the show today. We're going to be going back to Russia. So Transfer Daily probably be coming from either an airport or in Russia tomorrow, where we're going to be back out there to see England take on Colombia in the last 16 of the World Cup. Thanks for watching the show, and we'll be back tomorrow.